Metamora, Indiana, is a small town located east of Indianapolis. It's about 2/3 of the way to Cincinnati. It's in Franklin County, and though it is small, there is a lot of history and many events and activities that take place here from April until December. Fall is an excellent time to visit, though. On the way there, you pass through places like Oldenburg, along with other travelers of all different modes. Oldenburg is known for its numerous spires and its German heritage. The colors here bring out that down-on-the-farm atmosphere, and it brings out the kid and everybody wanting to take part. Metamora is also home to a newer trail called the Whitewater Canal Trail. Its path will eventually reach from Brookville to Metamora, some 8 miles one way. It can accommodate hikers, walkers, and even cross-country skiers. This time of the year, in the fall, Metamora rolls out its hospitality for history and hands-on history to visitors of all age groups, and it offers a very pleasant outing whether you walk, ride a bike, or just amble down the road. Its quaint houses are cozy, and its vintage stores offer gifts, sweet treats, antiques, anything you'd want, really. Seniors seem to like the ice cream and the dessert sections while their grandkids go for the games. Younger folks can wind their ways through the Hay-Bale Labyrinth. There's a corn shelling station where you can actually see how it was done not so long ago. Then, instead of the search for a needle in the haystack, it's find coins in the corn bin game. There are holiday weekend train ride and shopping excursions to Connorsville to the north, and a farmer's market in Brookville when it's in season. But the granddaddy of tricks or treats here is the 10-acre Metamora corn maze. From the outside, you think it's just an ordinary cornfield. But you get inside, though, and you'll wish you had the nose of a beagle to trace your way back. People find their ways here from all over the state in order to get lost in it. There's a welcoming tent at the end of the corn road, though, unless you need to be rescued early. In order to appreciate Metamora history, a visitor should really take a look back at what used to be here. This region was home to author Lew Wallace, as well as painters Otis Adams and T.C. Steele for a time, and John Herron, who was an original founder of the Herron School of Art in Indianapolis. The Whitewater Canal followed the river of the same name. The canal was built in the early 1800s from Lawrenceburg and Cincinnati on the Ohio River, and then it traveled west through Brookville and to Metamora. In most places, all the signs of the canal itself have vanished or it's been filled in, and then the railroad, which largely replaced the canals. There were hydro-powered mills built along the canal, and in the case of Metamora, the dam and mill helped it survive into today's time, even generating electricity for a while. The canal is now a state historic site, and the grist mill there is still operational. You can see here the old mill and the waterfall from it. This begins the part of the canal that still exists. You can also go inside the mill and actually see Indiana corn being processed into flour and meal, which you can buy right there. Go down underneath the mill, and you see the leather belts driving the machinery to grind the corn. Visitors to the 1838 town of Metamora can take a canal ride along a portion of the original waterway and go inside the mill. Several locks remain on the canal, including a twin set near the trail route. The canal looks very much like those painted in the 1800s by English landscape artist John Constable. Then there is the amazing engineering feat, still working like it used to, where a covered wooden aqueduct carrying the canal channel was built to cross above a creek at Metamora. If you ride on the boat, you can see how this crossing was maneuvered in the 1800s. A handler disconnects the horses in harness, leads them by hand to the other end of the aqueduct, while the boat floats on down the aqueduct to meet them. The horses are then reconnected to the boat and continue towing. Earlier, we mentioned that there is a recreational trail here. Tom Cooney is a spokesman for that trail. The Metamora Corn Maze event that's held here every October weekend charges a fee to get in, and the proceeds go to completing this Whitewater Canal trail.
Hey, welcome to the corn maze. Come on over. I'll explain what's going on here. You just arriving? You ready to get lost?
Yeah.
I bet you can do it.
Okay, so the trail goes from where to where now?
Right now we have a section, this section here is 2.6 miles from Metamora to down to Twin Locks. There are twin locks at the end of this one.
Okay.
And we now have as a tourist attraction. They were often went nowhere before. They had no access, so we got the trail in. And then there's a 1 mile section closer to Brookville.
Okay.
And there's 3 miles between them.
All right.
And we're trying to connect them. So in the end, it's not going to be one of the longest trails for sure, but it'll be the start. And we'll be able to get from Metamora to Brookville and back, biking trip.
That's great.
And in my lifetime, I'd like to see that get accomplished.
How many miles will that be total then?
It'll be about, let me see, 3, 6, about 8 miles.
8 miles.
8
wow,
miles.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. And I think that's real doable in my lifetime. But then we're looking at going out from there, going through Brookville, on to Harrison. We're going right along the old canal corridor.
Yeah.
So that's basically it. Some of it's rails to trails. Now this section here, you see we're paralleling the trail because they have the scenic railroad that still operates, and they drop people off here to the maze. And then down a bit, the trail ends, the railroad ends, and the trail goes up on the railroad. So the rest of it is rails to trails.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're trying to acquire the land between the two?
Right.
Okay.
Acquire the land, get the money. We have a lot of money now, but we need to raise more money. Not only, as all trail people know,
yes.
you always need money.
Oh, absolutely.
Maintenance, if not acquisition, structures,
absolutely.
all kinds of things. Yeah.
So,
but
and most of the trail is crushed stone?
yeah, crushed stone, and we're looking at paving now.
Oh, really?
And sections of it.
Okay.
And that's very controversial.
Really?
Some of the members, some of the board members, some people don't like the paving. One guy told me, he said, we have a highway up there. We don't need another paved road. They like the bucolic nature of the crushed stone.
Absolutely.
And other people say, well, if we get the blacktop on, we can have rollerbladers, more wheelchair accessibility, it'll be easier. So we're talking about maybe sections of it, maybe coming from Metamora, blacktop for a mile, and then going to crushed stone. Okay. But we really haven't resolved that.
Right now, are horses able to go on the trail?
No.
No horses?
No, they do, but they're not supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great trail.
It's a nice trail, and I think, like I say, it's not one of the longest in the state, but it has such a beautiful character to it with the canal,
absolutely,
the locks, the aqueduct up one end, the canal town, and going right through the scenic Whitewater Valley,
exactly,
right into the heart of the valley. Yeah. It's spectacular.
The Whitewater Canal Trail follows much of the surviving old canal route in this area. The trail itself often is the same as the original towpath, the very path used by mules or draft horses pulling boats through the waterway. This is the west side of the current trail. It's of gravel and crushed limestone and is heading toward Brookville, where the lake is. Kiosks have been placed along the route with information on trail history, on the flora and the fauna found here, and the routing of the trail. Aside from the holiday train to Connorsville, there is a tour train that partly parallels the trail and on which you can also book a short passage. The trail here is a gentle, easy track. Sometimes you'll see a shuttle taking folks from Metamora Center to the corn maze. So Metamora is small, but its history is quite impressive, and it certainly offers many kinds of trails to view in our country's evolution. Sometimes these trails and tracks lie right alongside one another, and sometimes the same trail that carried mules or draft horses now leads the way for feet and bicyclists still traveling to a destination.